The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
Welcome to Veteran Talk with Magic Mike, where what's important to you is important to us. Let's talk. I'm your host, Magic Mike, and today we're diving deep into something close to my heart. How sharing your story and getting behind the mic can be a powerful form of rehabilitation. Whether you're fresh out of service, years into civilian life, or somewhere in between, we've got a space for you here. Because everyone has a story, and broadcasting is how we tell it.
Maybe that's it. How about now? Mic check 1 2 1 2. 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 There we go. Anyways, welcome to Veterans Talk with yours truly, DJ Magic Mike, and we have a great show for you today. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was that, as we all know rather, excuse me, I'm a little under the weather, so you have to bear with me here. Excuse me. I'm on new medicine and stuff from our beautiful VA, and it's just making me a miserable mess. But as we all know, the Veterans Taking Care of Veterans Act has been shelved. It has been put aside, and there's no, there can be no blaming across the board. The Republican, the Democrat, the liberal, the right, the left, the sideways, whatever be it. The American Legion did their due diligence along with everybody else, and it just, there was too many people pushing back. There was one pushing back on this because of this reason or whatever. If you didn't watch my show last week, I talked about it in depth, and it was actually really, really, really good. That we were able to have a bunch of people really just everybody go over it and figure out what the heck is what. It probably won't be voted on this year. I hate to say it that way, but there's so much in that bill that would have helped veterans and Gold Star families, the Love Lives On Act, along with the Major Richard Starr Act. And everybody was so hell-bent and focused on tinnitus and sleep apnea. Well, here is the truth about those two things. They say, well, you're taken away from future claims. I talked about this in the last show last week, and I won't beat a dead horse anymore, but you're not taken away from future claims. Here's the thing. VA compensation disability is not a social welfare. It makes me so angry that these veterans who are getting out of today's military are so hell-bent on getting 100% before they even get out of the military. I'm gonna be 100%. I'm 100% before I even get out of the military. Oh, what did you do? I was a desk jockey, man. I've got carpal tunnel now because of all the damn forms that I had to fill out. So the Army owes that to me. The Air Force owes that to me. Nobody owes you nothing. It is painful for me to sit here and hear that. Excuse me. Some good old North Carolina tea. I'm lying. This is actually Alabama tea. It's really good. So it's kind of hurtful. It's kind of redundant to sit here and say future claims for veterans, because here's the reality of it. That claim, or those claims for tinnitus and PTSD and sleep apnea, et cetera, are going to be harder to justify. It's not like it once was. Here's the thing. If you look at the history of the VA, right? The VA got so much backlash and everything like that because of the wars in Vietnam and in Korea and in World War II even, and stuff like that. So especially for Vietnam, right? They didn't do enough for PTSD. So then they had to come up with a plan. They did. And then our nation went to war. And it was the I want to say the most popular war, but the first war that was televised, right? And that was Desert Storm, Desert Shield in the early 1990s. And it was the 100-and-something day war or whatever, with Norman Schwarzkopf, Stormin' Norman, and Colin Powell, right? And we were heroes and everything like that. Well, what about our veterans that are coming home, man? We salute you. We got to take care of you. We can't have it repeat like we did in Vietnam. So Desert Storm, Desert Shield was not Vietnam, wasn't even close to Vietnam. It was an air campaign that we decimated the Iraqi armed forces, even as they retreated back to their home of Iraq down Death Alley or Death Highway. We annihilated them to never fight again, pretty much, right? So then we all saw that. And then Iraq broke out, right? 2003. Boom, we're in there. We are liberating Iraq. So we liberate Iraq from what? We were liberated them from Saddam Hussein, right? Bad person, very bad person. We liberated it from him, and we kind of just reinvented Vietnam again. You see, guerrilla warfare is what Vietnam was, and that's what we were dealing with in Iraq, was a type of guerrilla warfare. You see, in World War II and Korea and Korea and World War II and World War One and so on, those wars were fought in uniform. You knew that was the enemy. This was the good people over here. You knew what color uniforms they wore. There was a lot of different things going on. Not always, but majority, right? And in Vietnam, you didn't know that. You didn't know who everybody looked alike. Everybody, 1 minute they're sitting there waving at you, and the next minute they had a freaking grenade in their hand, right? I mean, you heard about the babies, they would hand the GIs with a grenade in there and stuff like that. I mean, in Vietnam was just horrible. And in Iraq, it was the same thing. They're sitting there with their their dress on or whatever be it, and they got an AK-47 underneath there, and you think it's just some lady in a black, hijab covered up in her face going to, pray or something like that. She pulled out an AK-47, started shooting at you. So it was a lot of similarities there, and there was really don't know why we were here. If they don't want us here, let's leave, type of thing. And a lot of the insurgents and stuff like that were coming from Iran and had French documents on them, French IDs or French passports, but they were coming to Iran and then floating in from Iran into Iraq to fight for ISIS and the other different, things. So a little bit of history there. So now we are here and we're in Iran, right? We don't have boots on the ground in Iran, but we still have casualties, as we just found out, and we lost the lives of our service members who just came home. And we all who served in combat know that the military is a hazardous duty. It is a hazardous duty, regardless of whether you are a finance officer or whatever. We got that. But, and here's my but, and I know everybody hates it because I hate it when people say but. Here's the reality of it is that tinnitus, and back to what I was saying, tinnitus and sleep apnea will be judged or rated accordingly because they have not been changed since the 1940s. I'll say that again. Look it up. It's all on the internet. I mean, you can look up anything, any government document, right? And I talked about that last week, and I went into numbers and what the government says and what the rules are and what the law says and stuff. And the laws are made by our senators, congressmen, and our government, right? So this isn't the internet that makes up these laws. This is voted on, and it has not been talked about. The VA has not adjusted anything, and nor will they adjust anything immediately. It's not like, oh, we're going to pass this bill and tomorrow tinnitus and sleep apnea has gone away. It's not saying that. It's just saying that it has to be looked at a little bit deeper, which I'm in total agreement for. Just like what is it called? Fibromyalgia. Right? There's no way to prove it or disapprove it. I got fibromyalgia in my leg and it's killing me. And I believe it. But could you imagine that everybody in the military comes out and says, I got fibromyalgia? Or everybody in airborne school is now got C3 and C4 vertebra cracks, right? I mean, it's hard to do that and put a blanket across everything, but it's also hard at the same time to disapprove people who are generally right looking for it. Let's take out the VA for a second and let's talk about just one thing. I just give you an example. In the civilian world, right, when you can no longer work, it's called Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, right? Social Security Disability Insurance, or whatever I call it insurance, but that's what it is, right? And that's until you reach the age of 65 or older, in which you can get your full disability, right? Or your I don't say full disability, but your disability. So there are so many people that applied for Social Security and get Social Security and do not work and get food stamps and EBT and whatever else you want to call it from the federal government. There's so many people. And then they do their little side hustle, whether that's selling drugs or whether that's weaving hair or washing cars or whatever. That's their little side gimmick, right? Because everybody knows the $1,800 that you get from Social Security, because you probably never worked a day in your life, right? So I know a family who has children, and each one of their children are on SSDI, Social Security Disability insurance, right? So they can never work. They have some kind of a disability. Now, all of their kids, all six of their kids, all have the same thing. They have learning disability. They have attention deficit disorder. They have hyperactivity. They have all the same things, right? I don't understand how, as veterans, we don't look at the big picture and try to figure this out. And it's, do you think that we should stop giving Social Security across the board to everybody? Just a question. I mean, because I'll tell you, we shouldn't, right? Because there are people who really need Social Security, and then there are people who just misabuse Social Security, right? So you have a veteran that loses both his legs in Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever it be it. He goes and he gets his disability from the VA, and then he goes and he says, "Hey, I can't work. I'm missing both my legs and my left arm." Right? He's a triple amputee, and you expect him to go out and work? Absolutely not. Really? You really do expect him to go out and work? I'm just asking. You expect him to go out and work? Because I have to say it's a hard no, right? So this guy can't get a job, or this gal can't get a job. They're a triple amputee. So now they apply for Social Security. Now they have another hoop that they have to jump through to get Social Security. And now they're making about $5,000 a month with 4 kids. Wife has to work, right? Who's taking care of the kids? Who's taking care of him? Right? I mean, this is what I'm getting at. But let's spin another little scenario, if you will. A guy does 25 years in the United States Marine Corps, gets out, retires as a master sergeant, or I guess you guys call it master sergeant. We call it master sergeant. Retires from Marine Corps as a master sergeant, and then he goes out and he applies for disability through the VA. He gets it. So now he has his VA disability, his retirement, both paychecks, right? So now he's making about $9,000 a month. We'll just say $9,000 a month, right? That's about right. So he's making $9,000 a month. He's making $4,600 from the VA disability, or $4,000 from the VA disability, whatever. And he's making another $2,000, $3,000 from his retirement, right? So whatever it is, it's like $7,000 or $8,000. I know my math isn't mathing, but here's something that's serious. If that is true, why would you not allow? And to top it off, he now works for a government contractor making $180,000 a year. So he's making $300,000 a year because he retired, he claimed his disability, and now he's got a full-time job. So this guy who is a triple amputee who can't work, you're going to tell him, no, you got to suck it up and just deal with your VA disability? It just doesn't make sense. So the Major Richard Starr Act is the one thing that was in that bill, along with the Lives On Act, with a bunch of other great bills, right? It wasn't just one bill. It wasn't, everybody focused on the tinnitus and the sleep apnea being taken away, and it's not being taken away. It's being re-looked at, revisited, making it a little bit harder. And there's so many rumors out there, and not only did they put veterans against veterans, but they also put veteran organizations against veteran organizations. If you saw that, the VFW was like, "Oh no, let's get rid of this thing," and then the American Legion was like, "Oh, listen, I've talked to 162 people from the American Legion. Every single one of them are not the most of them fair. Most of them are life members, but they're not going to go or participate in anything with the VFW. Listen, the VFW is a thing of the past. I'm telling you right now. If anybody from the VFW is looking at me right now, if you don't get your shit together, VFW will be a thing of the past, because you're not really doing anything for the communities. Look at the American Legion. American Legion does things for the community, with the Boy Scouts of America, with community events and stuff like that. They're out there in the parades and stuff like that. I literally went to a function as a commander of a VFW, went to a function where they literally sat there and said, we would like to thank our American Legion for all that they do here for the veterans. And man, everybody looked at me like, man, they're not going to give you guys any kudos. I was a new commander, so I didn't know what was what. But it's so true. It is. It's so true, because of the fact that the American Legion is always out there, always doing things. So, I mean, these guys, I mean, they didn't say anything bad about the law. They said, look, there's things that could be changed, but we think that it's a good start to it, right? We can always come back and revisit it, but it's a good start to it. And this whole thing about, oh, you're taking away from future veteran disability. No, you're not. How are you taking away from future disability? Explain it to me. I've talked to 3 doctors, and they all looked at me and shook their head and they said, "There's nothing. The sleep apnea and tinnitus will continue to be something. It's just going to be harder to claim." And which I think is right, because remember, sleep apnea and tinnitus, right? Tinnitus, nobody can hear me ringing in my ears. Only I can. So everybody in the military is going to get sleep apnea and tinnitus. Sleep apnea alone is 50%, and tinnitus is 10% each ear to start with, maybe 30. So every single veteran getting out of the military is going to be 100%. So you're saying that even if you do 4 years in the military as a paper pusher, never leave the United States, you go out, shoot your weapon once a year to qualify, you think that person should get a disability benefit because they served in the military? Me as an Iraqi veteran, I do not think that's right. That's just me, my personal thing. Okay. So again, I know I'm beating this dead horse and everything like that, but if you're just joining us, the Take Care of Veterans Act, the Taking Care of Veterans Act was shelved. It was put on the back burner, right? It was shelved, put all the way back in the back. It probably will not be looked at again this year. They don't return from their, Congress doesn't return from their hiatus, if you will, until September. So the chances of that being looked at this year, and the Major Richard Starr Act has been going on for years. The Love Lives On Act has been going on for years and stuff. That's something else I don't understand. You're telling a woman who just lost her husband to get over it, move on, but she can't because you were telling her she can never get remarried, because she does, she loses her benefits. That's not fair either. So, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that was in there. And I think it's very selfish of the VFW and every other veteran organization. Excuse me. Every other veteran organization, I think it's very selfish of them that they sat there and they fought this bill over those 2 little issues. There's some really good stuff in here, but we're going to fight over these 2 issues. Why? Because your numbers are dwindling and you rely on those veterans that are coming home now to fulfill those numbers. Look at the statistics, man. Seriously, think about it. Leadership is everything. And I think the leadership right now that we have in some of these organizations like the DAV, VFW, and so on and so forth is lacking, is totally lacking. And I think that it would behoove them to do an inner look and sit with themselves in a dark room for a little bit and think about this. But they won't. They won't. So with that being said, I have some really good news. So on another note, I got a phone call a couple weeks ago, or I think it was maybe a month ago or something like that, from a friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, and we are trying to get him his Purple Heart. So the Army kind of pushed back on us with the Purple Heart thing, and we got all the documents together. I printed them off. It was like $47 worth of documents I put together. I put together this beautiful thing using ChatGPT and put a letterhead on there, professional and everything like that, and sent it up to the Pentagon and put on there, Mr. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, right? Because that's what they're officially called now, Secretary of War. And I got a phone call, and they were reviewing it. And I got a little email today, and it was kind of unique. And the email said something like this, and I won't read it because of personal reasons, because I don't want to disclose who this individual is, because it's something that's near and dear to them. But it goes something like this. It says, upon further review of the documentations, we have forward this to our Inspector General's office here at the Department of War. So that's moving in the right direction. So the Department of War took this packet because they denied us at the lower level of the Army. I'll say the lower level, but it was some goon who never probably saw a day in combat looked like, I can deny this. Yeah, or sign to say, hey, sir, I need your signature. Okay, here's my signature. Yeah, Purple Heart. Yeah, denied. Okay, here you go. What's the reason for denial? Okay, sounds good to me. Yeah. No, without looking at the evidence, we researched this thing. I put it in ChatGPT. I put it in another AI program. I went and did the research on law and what the law says, and the Army's got it wrong. So thank God that Secretary of War has referred it to the Inspector General's office at the department level to investigate it, and we can finally move on and get him his Purple Heart, because there's no reason for him not to have it, right? The excuse they're given for his Purple Heart is absolutely bullshit. And you guys know I hate to curse on my show, but it is bullshit. So hopefully, crossing my fingers, this year, before everything's said and done, I will hope to be in DC and witness this young man get his Purple Heart, because that's where I want it pinned. I want the Secretary of War to pin his freaking Purple Heart on him. That's what I'm hoping for. And I will advocate for this little knucklehead until the day I die. And there's other NCOs out there as well that are trying to do the same thing. So we got your back, and we love you. Hey, listen, it's 20 after the hour. You're listening to Veterans Talk on yours truly, Military Broadcast Radio. Had a Control-Alt-Delete minute. We're going to take a quick break, and right after the break, we'll discuss some other things in the news.
Honestly, hold on, things are dizzy, spin rapidly. To miss another beat is such a tragedy. Now this moment feels like all eternity. It should feel so comfortable. It's all in the secrets of the open hearts club. Tear it down, there is no need to scream and shout. When everything seems gray, seek reflection now. A peace of mind should not include deception's help. It should feel so comfortable. All lives tear into the scene, leaving bad taste in our memories. How can we all find change? It's all in the secrets of the open hearts club.
And you're back with Veterans Talk with yours truly, DJ Magic Mike, and on the radio station that gives all of our veterans a voice, and that is Military Broadcast Radio. Going to my little comments here. Into the Weeds podcast jumped on here. Thank you so much for being here. By the way, if you're not watching Into the Weeds or Tracer Rounds, or man, there's so many good shows out there now. I watched one the other day that we have on Military Broadcast Radio. It's called Stogies, and it is phenomenal. So I know most of you are asking me, so how's she doing? So I got a comment here, so I'll bring her up here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Here. Come here. Come here. Up. 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 Here. Up. Yeah, she ain't doing up today. She's not doing up today, but she's doing good. She's getting old. She's getting gray just like I am in my beard. So she's getting a little gray, and she's a little stiff in her hips, but we got some joint medicine for her. And she's doing good. Eva's doing great. So those of you who are asking out there, see if she come up. Come here. Up. 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 There we go. There's Eva. There's my Eva Beaver. Let's say hi. Oh, good girl. Okay. There she goes. She said hi. All right, off. Good girl. So Eva is doing great, for those of you who are asking. And we have a new addition. His name is Teddy, and we'll try to get him on the show one day. But he's a cutie patootie too. So one white, one black, right? So Ebony and Ivory is what we call them. But back to what we were talking about in the show, I got a little bit of ADHD with the medicine that I'm taking. So I want to talk about something that's really serious real quick for a second, and that is sunscreen, right? So I am originally from Miami, Florida. Those of you who know, I am born and raised in Miami, lived there my whole entire life. I have pictures of me in a crib wearing nothing but a t-shirt and a diaper with no sunblock on, blonde hair baby, blue eyed, just on the beach in Miami. And so somebody had told me I needed to get something looked at. I went and had it got looked at, and it was almost too late. How too late? Okay, well, I'll tell you. If you see a brown spot anywhere on your body and it just pops up and appears, and I know with old age we get some brown spots and stuff like that, but I had a little brown spot up here on my head. And it was just a little dark brown spot, looked like a little sunspot, right? I didn't think nothing of it. Somebody told me to go get it looked at, and I never did. I just kind of like blew it off or whatever. And then next thing you know, I was washing my hair one day and I felt a bump there. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So I went and had it looked at, and it was a cancerous cell growing on my head because of skin cancer, sorry. So we all know that skin cancer comes from the sun and the UVs and all that stuff. And I was I was hitting the tanning bed quite often, quite a bit and stuff. And we can't blame that. We can't blame any of that. So even on a cloudy day like today, make sure that you put sunscreen on. Use your sunscreen. That is really important. So I have another appointment on July the 25th with a dermatologist, and they're going to go over my whole entire body. So, and then every 3 months thereafter, I will have to continue to come back and stuff. So it's very serious. Listen, people think of skin cancer as just like a little thing and they cut it out and that's it. And it's over and done with, but it's not. I know quite a few famous people. My old colonel, or my old major, I should say, had it, and he had it very early on. He told me before he even told his wife that it was cancerous. It was just a little tiny brown spot on his nose he had cut out. It was like, holy crap. And he was a great leader, man. But I remember him, man. He would dip himself in a bathing sunscreen, and it was crazy. So make sure you take care of each other. Make sure you go and get your checkups as you should. Anyway, so, and that was that. And one more thing I wanted to talk about, because it was very important, is all the different shows that we have on MBR. I talked and touched base a little bit about that, and I just got a comment. And again, my show is pretty much me talking. I know I got that. I know people want to see people coming on my show and have guests on my show and everything like that, and that's great. I personally would love to have a co-host. I had a couple co-hosts. I had some great co-hosts, and I had some co-hosts that were like crazy, and we put them back out there. Crazy people out there. But yeah, we had to put them back out in the street. But if you're looking for a starting podcast and you want to sit here and be a host on my show, please feel free. I'd love to have you. It goes for any of my colleagues on Military Broadcast Radio. It's not that I'm difficult. It's not that I don't have content. It's that due to my health and my schedule, I have to constantly go to the VA and go to the VA and go to the VA. As you guys can hear, the medicine that I'm taking right now makes me very raspy and constantly having to clear my throat, which doesn't help at all. It helps none, zero to zilch. So, one day I won't be here, and one day I'll need to have a legacy. So somebody else can be Veterans Talk. Just can't use the name Magic Mike. You have to think of another name. So I know my producer hates when my head is cut off, like when I get too close to the camera and stuff. So I'll back up a little bit, and we'll try this a little bit better. Originally, I came on the show today to talk about the Taking Care of Veterans Act and the Major Richard Starr Act, right? So I see a lot of posts online on Facebook, especially, and Instagram and stuff, and it says pass the Major Richard Starr Act as a standalone bill. That's a no-brainer. That's really a no-brainer to have that as a standalone bill. However, the Taking Care of Veterans Act had that in it, along with other great bills. Like, why do we need a bill for this and a bill for that and a bill for this and a bill for that? Why not just have one bill that has all of that in it? And that's what they did. And it had a lot of good co-sponsors in it and everything like that. The only reason it was shot down was because it started putting veterans against veterans. And everybody was like, hey. So now I see a lot on Facebook and stuff of people talking about, hey, we're all veterans. At what point do we start going against each other and stuff? And here's the thing. That's reality. Everybody knows that on my show, I talk about this a lot, but politics were never meant for the military. We never cared about it. Only thing I cared about was whether or not you had my back and I had yours. That's all that I cared about. I didn't care if you were gay. I didn't care if you were straight. I didn't care what you did behind your closed doors. I didn't care how many kids you had, who you were married to. When I joined the Army, I was told that we were all the same color, green. Period. End of story, green. So for me to hear that a veteran went on, and this is why I'm saying that, because somebody just emailed me and I looked at it and asked me what I thought about this Air Force major that sat there in uniform on the steps of the Capitol building and was screaming down with this and down with that. I think he should be punished under the Uniform Code of Military Justice to the maximum extent of the UCMJ. And this is why. It has nothing to do with freedom of speech. It has nothing to do with that. Matter of fact, the UCMJ says you have freedom of speech. You can talk all you want, smack all you want. It doesn't matter. Talk all you want. But don't do it while you're in uniform. That's all. Just don't do it while you're in uniform. This guy was literally in his uniform. So that says, hey, I'm representing the Air Force. And that's not what you're representing. You're representing yourself. We can go to protest. Absolutely. Unless it's forbidden by your command. Because remember, your command can make up the rules, right? So there's, and don't tell me, oh, that's horrible. No, it's not horrible. It's actually the same way in civilian life. And what do you mean? Well, you have a city, you have a county, and you have a state, and you have a federal, right? Sometimes there's in-betweens of that. So the federal government sets the standard, says this is the way it is, this is the law. The state can then add to that and says, yeah, and we want to add this. They can't take away. And the city and the county can do the same thing. They can add to, but they can't take away. So the commander can do the same thing. The commander consider you can get a letter from the doctor that says you're plumb crazy, you should be kicked out of the military, and the commander goes, nah, I'm gonna keep him. He is now responsible for you, and he has to answer for any crazy shit that you may do. 9 times out of 10, they don't go against those recommendations. Every once in a while, I don't know, maybe I was an option. Joking, bad joke, but they literally do not go against the doctors, but they can. They absolutely can. How many times were you in the military that you've seen one of your buddies or one of your partners in crime or whatever try to get a 24-hour quarters, right? Because they weren't feeling good or because they drank too much the night before, 24-hour quarters. And the sergeant goes, I've done it before. When I was in NCO, I had a soldier that I knew always tried to get out of the field. Didn't want to go to the field for no reason at all. He sat there and he said he had the flu, wasn't feeling good. I said, okay, no problem. We took him in. He got seen by the doctor. The doctor says 24-hour quarters, right? Because the doctor doesn't care because it doesn't affect his MTO. It doesn't affect his readiness. It doesn't affect anything. So the doctor is like, 24-hour quarters, that should help you out. So I went up to his room and I hear his music playing. Like he's blaring his music and stuff like that, right? Not laying in bed. He's blaring his music. He's in civilian clothes, shorts, in his room, blaring music. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, I got 24-hour quarters. They hand me a slip. I said, okay, good. Get in your military uniform. Get in your uniform. We're going to the field. Oh, but Sergeant, I've got quarters, 24 hours. I go, correct. And your quarters are out there in the field. So you're going to be in bed out there in the field being watched, and we're going to watch you. We're going to make sure you're taken care of. We're going to give you fluids. We're going to give you 3 hots and a cot, and you're going to be okay. Oh, the look on his face. Oh, I want to go to IG. Went to IG. Filed in a complaint with the Inspector General's office. You know what the Inspector General said? He's absolutely right. Your quarters are out there in the field. This is some, that soldier wound up getting kicked out of the military for other things, but that's I mean, those are the things, right? And the reason I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but what do I think about people in uniform protesting? I think it should be illegal, just like it is in the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 134, which is kind of a catch-all. Article 134 says disobeying a lawful order. If you were given a lawful order by the president, by the lowest ranking sergeant, That's still an order. When you took an oath, I will obey the orders of those appointed over me and the President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief. I will obey the orders. You're disobeying an order. The order says clearly that you will not protest while in uniform. You're protesting. You're protesting against something that you don't like. Listen, I went to Iraq. I didn't like Iraq. I had a soldier ask me, do you think this war is correct? Do you think we're here for a reason? You think that we should be here? My opinion doesn't matter at that point. It doesn't. And I'll tell you what my answer was. My answer was simple. We took an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States. In that Constitution, it gives our families, neighbors, friends, and people we don't even know the right to vote. As Americans, it gives you the right to vote for who you think will be the best suited for the job as President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. So it's not up to me whether I like the president or not. It's up to me to follow his orders. And I'm protecting the Constitution that allows my family and friends to put him in office. All this hogwash, but the elections are rigged and everything like that. Whatever your belief is, it doesn't matter. He's still a commander-in-chief. If I was in the army while under Joe Biden, you wouldn't see me going, oh, that old geezer, that son of a gun, he's sleeping. Look at him checking his watch as the bodies are coming off the plane. No, he's the commander-in-chief. Those little comments and stuff, you're not entitled to anymore. That is your boss. And for you civilians that like to watch my show and don't understand this, or somebody who was in the military for a hot minute and doesn't understand what I'm getting at, wherever you work today, McDonald's, Burger King, police officer, firefighter, nurse, doctor, lawyer, I don't care if you're an IT technician. Go to your boss and tell your boss you don't like something. See how far that gets you. Probably get you as far as the unemployment line. Or maybe not a raise next time. So there's consequences. Certainly you could talk about them. Talk to their face. Disapprove your like of something they do. Absolutely. But see how far that gets you. It's part of life. So no, I think he should be held responsible for what he did. I think he should be I think as an officer, I think his status as an officer, I think his enlistment as an officer should be revoked immediately. I think he should be an E4 or E5 when they strip him from his officer rank. And I think he should be, other than honorable discharge out of the middle, not a bad conduct discharge. BCD is reserved for somebody that murders somebody, does something hideous like, rape or whatever, craziness like that. I think he should get it other than honorable discharge, though. And I think he should be chaptered out of the military ASAP. 100%. Let him get paid his little thing. Let him have his glory ASAP. Gone. See you later. Bye. Period. End of story. I don't think he should be in the military. Because if you can't follow the simple orders and you feel that harsh about what's going on, then your priorities and your oath that you took means absolutely nothing to you. And that's the problem that we have with today's military. When you raise your right hand and you say, I do solemnly swear to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and follow the orders of those appointed above me and the President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief. When you take that oath today, it's just them reciting a poem. It's just them saying words. It's just like today when somebody says, I love you. Hello, I love you too. They're just words. The morals behind the taking of the oath have gone awry. They're gone. That's, I think, the biggest problem that we have with our military today. I think when they raise their right hand and like, yeah, I do solemnly swear to uphold and defend the Constitution. Yeah, I do. Yeah. All right, congratulations. Yeah, I can't wait to get to E5. Can't wait to get to E6. Can't wait to be a 07. Can't wait to. That's what the problem is. And I think that is in and itself a issue with us as human race and morally. I will share something with you that happened to me today. I thought it was really awesome. So as most of you know, I'm in a big military community where I live at. And I saw a van, and I was walking to Eva this morning, and I saw a German officer. Actually, he was a sergeant in the military. He had his, German Bundeswehr uniform on, and it was really cool. And I said, "Schönen guten Morgen," which means, hey, good morning. And those of you who don't know, I speak fluent German. And he said, "Oh, good morning." And I said, he was smoking a cigarette. And I said, "Where are you from?" And he said, "Oh, from Hanover." Had a real heavy, or proper, I should say, German accent. And I said, oh, cool. I said, I spent a lot of time, 9 years in Germany, in Bamberg. He goes, oh, and I says, I was the translator for our unit that had the partnership with Ingolstadt, the pioneers, which is the engineers. And he said, yeah, Ingolstadt. Yeah. Well, as I'm walking, he's standing by a van, a little minivan. There was a bunch of officers in there. One of them was like a lieutenant colonel, I think, and a major and stuff. And they had patches, colorful patches and stuff like that. And the one guy had a flight suit. So I assumed that they're pilots. And I was laughing with him and joking with him and stuff. And I said, well, this is what an old soldier looks like. And he said, 30 years old is now the old soldiers. He says it's a young man's game. And we laughed and we were talking German for a little bit, a couple seconds before they had to leave. And I said, I got to share a story with you. When I was in Kosovo, I was handpicked by our then acting general, Colonel Hofpower, who said, can you go to the front gate? We have the 4-star general from Germany coming down. He's in charge of the NATO troops and all this other stuff in Kosovo. And I want you to be able to translate and greet him, right? So, okay, so man, my uniform was sharp looking. I'm standing there at the gate and everything. Here comes his entourage with a bulletproof Mercedes and all that stuff. And I stood there, I saluted, and he rolled down his window and I said, Mein Herr. He looked at me, he smiled at me. He said, in plain English, he said, the only thing missing from right now, you saying that, is a stiff arm salute. And I felt like an idiot because Mein Herr is from the old Reichsmarsch days, right? Like when they say, Mein Herr, right? Sir, dear sir, right? And today they say Herr, which is sir, and then their rank, sir. So it'd sound like Herr General. Right. But his English was probably better than mine. And he said, the only thing missing from you is a stiff arm salute. And he laughed and he drove through the gate. And I felt like, holy crap, these guys laughed so hard. They laughed. They said, yeah, it's okay. They said, when we're with Americans and we have to talk English, we have the same issues. Sometimes we say improper things. So I thought it was funny. It was cool. But I share that story with you to remind you that something else that I saw on TikTok that was really cool. And actually it was on Instagram, and it was a bunch of army officers that were training with NATO, and it was everything from Lithuania to Poland to Czech Republic. I mean, it was crazy. All these officers, and it was like they were best friends. They were best friends, coming up, shaking each other's hands, giving each other big hugs and taps. DAP as we called it back in the day, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see that because it makes me realize that even though they are soldiers from different countries at one time that used to be at war with each other, that they have so much similarities, right? These are the decision makers when it comes to soldiers in war and stuff like that, right? These are decision makers. And it was so neat to see them hugging and laughing and joking and talking, explaining things to them. And I thought it was really cool. And that goes a long way. And it also reminded me today, talking with these German soldiers, that the whole esprit de corps isn't just in the American military. It goes across borders. And I thought that was really, really cool. So we're going to take a real quick break. I'm going to get a little drink, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap some stuff up, and we'll talk about our next long journey, if you will. It's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, we'll
She walked out with just about everything. That car, them keys, her wedding ring. Ain't it funny how people change? I told her she could take the whiskey, take it all. Take the bourbon, I'll take the loss. Take the pictures, take the frames, hell, take the walls. But you can't take the dogs. Yeah, I'm taking them with me. I got them boys up in the backseat. You can go and take whatever you want, but you can't take the dogs. You can even take the 6th string. Don't come saying you miss me. You can go and take my last name off, but you can't take the dogs. She came back just a couple weeks after that. Guess she got lonely in the aftermath, not having them boys around. I Yeah, she realized that she had it made. Now she's got twice as many bills to pay. Hell, I'm taking them boys to the grave. Now there ain't a damn thing to say. Yeah, I'm taking them with me. I got them boys up in the backseat. You can go and take whatever you want, but you can't take the dogs. You can even take the 6 train. Don't come saying you miss me. You can go and take my last name off, but you can't take the dogs. I won't lie, I've been waiting for your call, just so I can go and tell you all and talk about the things that you did wrong and how you can't take the dogs. Yeah, I'm taking them with me. I got them boys up in the backseat. You can go and take whatever you want, but you can't take the dogs. You can even take the 6 train. Don't come saying you miss me. You can go and take my last name off, but you can't take the dogs. No, no, you can't take the dogs. No, no, girl, you can take the whiskey, take it all, take the bourbon, I'll take the loss. You can go and take my last name off, but you can't take the dogs.
Is that not a badass song? Listen, it's Matt Oakley, and it's called "You Can't Take the Dogs." That's a pretty good song. I like that. You can take the 6 string, you can take the whiskey, but you can't take the dogs. Amen to that. Hey, listen, we're back with Veterans Talk on Military Broadcast Radio, and I know I'm a little bit under the weather, and somebody just texted me and said, "Hey, what's going on with you? You don't sound the same." For most of you know that I am going through a lot of treatment and stuff through the VA and trying to get myself back together, I guess, if you will. And it's difficult. It is difficult. I have my good days and my bad days. But nonetheless, it's been a journey. The last, I would say, God, 9 months, 10 months have been probably the most trying, most testing, most ridiculous of my life. So it has been a lot on my plate, and every day is different. Last night I had a blood pressure reading of 161/110, and I'm like, maybe I should go to the hospital. So I just kind of rested a little bit, took a warm bath, which is probably not a good thing to do or a great thing to do, but another important thing. Check your blood pressure. We're up in the ages and stuff like that. Check your blood pressure. Try to watch what you eat. Eat healthy. I had a salad last night, man. I'm on a journey of health, although I did have a bowl of cereal today. So I don't know how healthy that was, but it was Raisin Bran, so I guess it's kind of 50-50, right? And it's 1% fat milk that I used. Organic lactose. Somebody give me a break. Throw me a bone. Tell me at least I'm doing something right. I mean, it's difficult out here to try to be healthy, with all the good stuff we have to eat. But the last thing that I want to talk about real quick, and we got like 10 minutes left in the show, is about the soldiers or the military that we lost. We lost 3 very innocent and young souls, a lieutenant and an NCO and so on and so forth. And it was... I know for a lot of us that suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder or were diagnosed with PTSD, I know that this war in Iraq and the news and everything like that, and what we see on the news and stuff, brings back a lot of memories and stirs up a lot of dirt and sediment in the bottom of our ocean, if you will. And I know it can be difficult. It can be difficult, and I know if you're like me, I don't believe in the crisis line because I think it's kind of garbage, but we can always be there for each other and try to buddy check. Check on your buddy every now and then. H Train is, I've known him for over 20 years, and he and I served in Iraq together, and, he checks on me and I check on him. Not as often as I like to, because I don't like to bother him because he has a lot on his plate, but he's good people, right? So he does check on me every now and then, says, "Hey, how's it going?" And I usually tell him it's going okay or it's going good, and he talks with me. So if you have a friend or a loved one or somebody out there turn off the news. Stop watching the news, man. I used to watch the news religiously every morning when I woke up, every night when I went to bed and stuff, and I still watch it every now and then. But if you turn on the news right now, it just seems like everything is so negative and so bad and so crazy, and the world is just an array. But if you look outside the window, there's no bombs going on. There's no, I mean, we got a little bit of overcast today, but in Tennessee, but other than that, it's not too bad. So, it's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful morning, it's a beautiful night, and we need to enjoy each other and enjoy life a little bit better. And stop watching the news, man. Stop watching the news. Yeah, stop watching the news. It'll change your life. Seriously, do something constructive. I started walking again, so I kind of have no choice. Um, but because I live in an apartment, but I have to walk, and I have a beautiful pool in my apartment, so I'm gonna start swimming and start trying to get myself back into order, back into some kind of a routine of a healthy lifestyle, if you will, so I can sleep better at night, so that I can live longer, hopefully, right? That's all of our goal is, right, to get healthy and live longer, and to be with our families and stuff like that. Um, there's something that I read, and it said, and I wish I had it in front of me, but I'll talk about it in the next show next week. And I promise my shows sometimes are great, and they're great, and sometimes I'm just kind of like winging it and stuff like that. And I apologize because, again, during the week, and it's no excuse, because during the week I'm so indebted with like all these appointments that I'm going to, and radiation, and sitting in an MRI and CT scan and this and that. And oh, did you go here? Did you go talk to this person, that person? Da 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 da. Da. So, um, so I literally set up. I literally have a really cool, I guess, what I'm gonna share with you. But those of you who know me know that my father served in the United States Army, served during Vietnam, and when my father passed away, I was in Iraq. So I never really. My dad wanted to be cremated. That was his choosing. So he was cremated, and my mom, had him in this real big urn, and my my mother then died a year and a half later while I was deployed, and my mother was cremated as well. So upon conferring with my brothers and my sisters and stuff, we have all decided that we were going to intern them into intern them. We were going to have a burial, if you will, and have them a place that we all could go visit. So my dad was originally from Northern Kentucky, so we have a burial site set up. I reached out to the veteran organization out there, the VA run cemetery, the state run cemetery, as you were, and it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful cemetery. It's brand new. We already have the headstone picked out and everything like that. Just like military headstone. My mom's name will be on the back of it. My dad's name on the front of it. So it'd be really cool, and really neat. And we'll have a place that we can all meet up, and people can go visit and know that mom and dad are there, and their grandma and grandpa, and their aunt and uncle, or whatever be it. And I thought it was really neat. So kudos out to the Northern Kentucky State Veterans Cemetery. His name is Michael, who runs it, and his staff there are phenomenal, have helped me along the way to get all the documentation. One of the hardest documentations that I had to get was the wedding certificate, or the marriage certificate, from my parents, because they were married in Germany. And I had to send out a letter and stuff. And they said, listen, the birth certificate, or I'm sorry, the death certificate will say on there next of kin, and it should say your mom's name on there, and that's good enough for us. So I thought that was really cool. And they waived the fee, because normally there's a $500 fee for a spouse to be buried with a veteran, and they waived the fee. So I thought that was really cool. And again, hats off to the Northern Kentucky State Run Veterans Cemetery out there and Memorial Gardens. Absolutely beautiful. They've been with us the whole step of the way. So stay tuned. I'll let you guys know. And they also said, would you like military honors, which I thought was cool as heck. Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be pretty cool. And I'll let you guys know how that goes. Again, as promised, I promised to have more content, and I promised to go out there and really be a stick in the, I'm trying to think of the right words here. I just have a lot on my plate, guys. Trust me. If I open up my book, my journal, and showed you everything that I'm going through right now, you'd be like, "Well, why are you doing a show?" Because this is my therapy. Because even though I'm talking to myself, it seems like it's still therapy. And to my one follower right now, thank you, whoever you are. I appreciate you. God bless you. I have literally one person viewing me right now. But see, this goes on the internet, and people can watch me tomorrow. They can watch me tonight. They can watch me while they're in bed. or if they just want to feel better about themselves and know that they have a great life and watch my misery, sure, they can watch it later on. That's a joke. So feel free to tune in every single Thursday between the hours of 4 and 5 Eastern Standard Time, Veterans Talk, Military Broadcast Radio. I have a couple guests lined up, and I haven't confirmed any of them. They haven't confirmed with me, but I'll try to get a couple guests on here. So for your amusement, it'll be fun. I know my old commander, Michael Payne, he's just a phenomenal person, and I'd love to have him on the show. And I might do that. I might just start reaching out to old commanders and officers and see if they'll join me on the show. And if they say no, then hey, first person I'd like to reach out to is Pete Hedseth. I know you weren't my commander or anything like that, but man, if you want to get on a show, man, I'd love to have you on a show. Ask you a couple questions, have people tune in. Man, you can make this show go crazy viral. Anyways, I love each and every one of you guys. Remember, thank a veteran, and more importantly, ask them what they do. And I saw this today from a good friend of mine who's called the Saluting Marine. And he placed a TikTok and he goes, when you think a veteran, mean it. Thank you for your service. What do you do now that you're out of the service? And if they're a painter, or if they're a plumber, or if they own their own business or do something like that, throw them business their way. Hey, you got a card on you? Employ a veteran, right? We're so hell-bent on supporting our locals. Well, we support our veterans too. Be safe to each other, love one another, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you next time on Veterans Talk on Military Broadcast Radio. Remember, we're the radio station that's here giving our veterans a voice. We're here for you, not for us. Giving our veterans a voice on Veterans Talk.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today.